Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Genesis Mindset. And this is another Mobick episode. So I think the way that I'm going at the moment, I'm going to make Monday Mobick Monday. So every Monday I will be doing a Mobick video, and then Wednesday and Friday and any other days in between that I feel like the content is there, I'll be doing Pulse Chain, Richard Hart ecosystem. I'll also eventually start doing more artificial intelligence and metaverse episodes as well as that narrative starts to ramp up. But for now, let's get straight into it. So in this particular episode, first of all, with all the disclaimers, this is the Genesis mindset for investing, trading, and life. And of course, personal opinion only. It's not actually financial advice. So in this episode, it's a bit of an update. So it's an update on BitMobick. And I'm going to, first of all, talk about, again, summarize what BitMobick is to make it clear for any new listeners. The genius of the supply, which is probably one of the most powerful ideas in this particular project, and then the updates on JTBC and Ray-Ban. So I'll explain those shortly. So first of all, BitMobick. What is BitMobick? So first, you need to know that it's a fork of Bitcoin. So there's a famous South Korean Bitcoin author. He's studied economics, he's studied finances, and he's a professor. So Professor Tae Min, Mr. O, he is the founder of this particular project. He's been in Bitcoin since 2014, and he's studied it very much in depth. And he's the most famous Bitcoin author in South Korea, has a huge following on YouTube. And basically, he tried to get changes implemented into Bitcoin. But as you all know, Bitcoin is really beyond a point where any sort of centralizing agency can put any kind of positive impact on the project. It's gone so far now that it's taken its original ethos and it's just stuck with that, for better or for worse. So now it can't actually change. It just keeps developing as it is. And as you can see now, obviously we have all the octopus tentacles of BlackRock and the SEC and the American government really coming into Bitcoin and really endangering everything that cryptocurrency stands for. So everybody's excited about the ETF. I think it really spells the end of Bitcoin. But on the contrary to that, while Bitcoin becomes the Yahoo, as Yahoo died, it was the most biggest and eventually died out. Google became the most popular. What is going to be really the Google of cryptocurrency? Is there going to be a Google? And this is one of the things that excites me about BitMobick. It takes all the issues of Bitcoin and it tries to solve those issues by providing a cheaper network, obviously because the price is a lot cheaper, that companies can actually use and integrate with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, especially now, is going to start to be used a lot more by TradFi. It's a network. It can have NFTs, as we've seen with ordinals. It can have all sorts of programs implemented to it onto the blockchain. And so this is what BitMobick aims to be. It aims to be a network where people can actually experiment with different applications on the BitMobick network and then implement them into the Bitcoin network. So it's actually complementing Bitcoin rather than competing with it, in the same way that Pulse Chain complements Ethereum. It's actually there because it's cheaper, and it's there so that it can actually be utilized for the benefit of the major ecosystem. One of the geniuses of this was the innovative airdrop design. And I will be going over that just very briefly, and the public goods feature. And again, I'll be going over that in the next few slides very briefly. But essentially, the airdrop was done in a way that created an attachment in people's minds. So people spent their physical and energy and time on actually acquiring the tokens. It's not just something that you received for free in your MetaMask one day. They actually expelled physical energy itself, and time. And so one of the main ethoses in this is that it has a centralized beginning. So Tae Min, who actually is the origin address, and it's moving towards 100% decentralization. So again, unlike Bitcoin, there's always going to be that fear of whether Satoshi is going to come back and dump the price. Even in Pulse Chain, everybody fears, not everybody, but some people fear that the OA, and in Hex that there's an OA that's actually going to sell the price. But those who actually trust Richard Hart and trust the code don't actually think that's an issue. But with this particular token, it's actually 100% prevented, and it's 100% in benefit for the network. So let's actually see how that's possible. So imagine this bubble diagram is the supply. So it's a 14.7 million supply, and it's a very strategic distribution. So I'll show you how they've chosen to distribute it and the innovation of the public goods. So the first layer of distribution is the airdrop. So 4 million of the 14.7 million has gone to the airdrop. Now, the reason why this airdrop is so innovative is that these people traveled around the world. So it started in South Korea. They would go on hikes. They would go on hikes, climb basically mountains, traveling around Korea to receive these airdrops. Once they got the token, it's free, but they had to actually travel to the destination. They had to exert physical energy to actually acquire it. So in their mind, they've expelled a lot of time, energy, and physical energy. So they actually have that attachment in their mind to the token. So this is the core. So one of the theses of the white paper was that if you actually create a core of users first, they will actually support the network and help it to expand. And I actually think that this is a fundamental truth, actually. So they are the nucleus, you could say, of BitMobick. Then we have the 4 strategic sectors that are going to be distributed as part of the public good. So this is going to be, I believe it's 7 million tokens of the 14.7 million. So half of the tokens essentially are going to 4 strategically selected. Oh, the airdrop there should be showing, but 4 strategically selected areas. So IT company basically are going to receive a huge chunk. And so these bubbles, the distribution is not exactly equal, but it's shown equal here, but it doesn't really matter. The IT company, where they can actually utilize it in their company, they can use it to pay their workers, their staff. They can create an ecosystem within their company that can expand out. They can experiment with different kinds of applications on the blockchain, which they can then implement to Bitcoin. So that's what the IT companies are all about. Media companies, it's a synergistic connection where basically the media company gets these tokens for free, and then they get a free source of marketing. So they can create some advertisements and say, hey, why don't you scan this QR code and you receive 1 BitMobick? And they have done nothing for that. They've pretty much just allowed free advertising. So now they can give that BitMobick. It's going to attract attention by people who actually want to acquire the BitMobick, and it's going to create social authority. And if price starts to ramp up, then it's a good thing for the ecosystem. Universities, again, students will get given a certain amount of a supply so they can create an ecosystem within their university. For example, they might have cafes where you can trade BitMobick, or you can go to the library and trade your BitMobick for time on some special machine or anything, any kind of ecosystem, any kind of monetary system within a university. They can use BitMobick, and they've been given it for free. So it's really just free money that they could then start to create a trading ecosystem. And also they can use it to sell, because they will also be getting mining rights. So in the same way that Bitcoin is mined, proof of work, same thing with BitMobick. So it'll be mined. So as it's mined, then they can actually use those funds to sell the tokens, and they'll have a source of revenue for research, which is a big part of any university. And finally, energy companies. So renewable energy companies will be given 1/3 of the mining rights so that they can actually set up mining operations, and they can sell the tokens, and they can also use those mining, or whatever they've set up in their mining ecosystem, to actually also set up for Bitcoin. They can connect it to the Bitcoin network. So basically, when it's a renewable energies company, the beauty there is, for example, solar. Let's just use solar, for example. Maybe throughout the day, the energy is not getting used as much as it would be at night when people are at home watching their televisions and turning on ovens and all of those different devices, which is creating like a peak use of time. Whereas where it's a minimum use of time, they're still generating energy, but they're actually they're not spending as much energy as they're creating. So they can actually use that wasted energy to mine BitMobick. So it's a really, really clever idea. Okay, then finally we have all the other. So basically, because it's a fork of Bitcoin, a percentage, there's going to be an estimated 2.5 million Mobicks. This is what Mr. O has basically calculated. There's probably going to be about 2.5 million people from Bitcoin that once they get the BitMobick app, they can actually claim the fork of Bitcoin. Now, this also is designed to entice whales in the Bitcoin ecosystem to come out to see if they're still active. So it also removes the negative externality of Bitcoin to show, yes, these whales are still active. This is what they have done recently. and because there's always that fear about whether those whales are going to dump. So out of that origin supply also comes all the forked Bitcoin users and any new holders. So at the moment, of course, it's being traded amongst people, mostly amongst South Koreans, but it's being traded at, I think it's 100, basically 100 US dollars and 148 Australian dollars. So this is how much it's trading for at the moment. And so this is all just done through applications by like Kakao Talk, Korean-based applications, Telegram. So it's completely decentralized. It's not listed. It's not on any exchanges. That is coming after 2029 when this initial distribution is complete. So the important thing about this distribution is Tae Min, in the end, the founder is going to have 0 tokens. So whatever remains after 2029 of that initial supply gets burnt. If it doesn't get used, if it doesn't get sent, it gets burnt. So Tae Min is never going to sell a single token. This is the promise he's made. He's a public figure. People can watch the wallets. It's all public knowledge. So this is the innovation here. The origin address, the supply is being gradually distributed to create this ecosystem. And the closer to the center of the ecosystem, the deeper the attachment. So as part of some of these distributions, for example, to the media company, they can't actually sell the tokens. They can only give the tokens out. And of course, as the people in the nucleus do their job, so now there's a council that's being formed by Tae Min for Bitcoin. So this is going to be a council of 50 BitMobick members. So now this council is going to devise different kinds of ways to help grow the ecosystem, have ideas. It's really just the think tank of the ecosystem. So as these guys do their job and spread the word, then of course people should, it's not a guarantee as always, but also Tae Min is encouraging people just to hold. Look at what Bitcoin has done. So of course there's always going to be sellers, but already the core nucleus is supporting the price. So it's gone from 0, it went up to Australian dollars over $200, and now it's down to 150. So it's had a huge dip, and then it jumped back up, and then it came back down, and now it's probably going to hold at these levels. So from 0 to these levels means that there's this buffer of owners that aren't willing to sell. So these guys are the ones who are supporting the ecosystem. And this is the reason why the airdrop is so integral, because these guys are all long-term thinkers. They didn't climb a mountain. They didn't travel to LA. They didn't travel to Australia just to dump their tokens at $100. They're really going to hold. And you would think that they're just going to sell in stages. Once it gets to a certain price, they might take some out. Once it gets to another price, they might take more out. But it's a phenomenal idea. This idea of the connection to the token through the airdrop is a really fantastic idea. And if those guys can spread the community, and the energy at the moment is like really viral. It's going viral in South Korea, but it hasn't really spread throughout the rest of the world yet. Okay, so now the updates on this media company. So JTBC. So as part of this sector of 4, just like I showed here, you've got this sector of 4. One of those sectors now, they're already making moves. So they have been approached and have approached one of the big 5 media companies in South Korea. So this is JTBC. And the plan is that they'll provide 600,000 Mobick of the 1.2 million supply that is going to be going to a media company. And then once they give them this 600,000, so basically JTB will broadcast it in ways that they choose and through advertisements and enhancing social authority. And the thing here is that, well, the synergy here, there has to be a synergy between who the tokens are given to and Mobick. If there isn't a synergy, this is why it's a test. This is why they're only giving 600,000. If there isn't a synergy, then they're not going to proceed with that. They'll try something different. So the synergy is that if the Mobick price goes up as a result of this distribution, and JTBC gains more attention, so they actually get advertising revenue. They're getting these tokens for free, but if they get advertising revenue, then they'll be given 600,000 more to JTBC. And of course, JTBC getting the attention is what they want. This is not necessarily a requirement from the perspective of Mobick, but of course it's good for JTBC, and it will encourage them to want to do more and to really develop this idea in much more creative ways. Now, none of this is set in stone. This is still in talks. Unfortunately, there has been talks, but it's not an official announcement yet. So there is certain things that it's pending on. And so that remains to be seen. So this is when Tae Min announced it to people, to a crowd of Mobickers. And this was big news that happened just a few weeks ago, and everybody was really, really excited. So this news spread around everywhere through the Mobick community. But of course, it's not set in stone. And what are some of the things that they need to actually do to set it in stone? They need to start generating social authority. So obviously, if it's on the news, one of the big things that the news is going to give it is social authority. But of course, JTBC has its own reputation to consider. They're not just going to go into something which might end up being a scam, and then it damages their reputation. So they need to be very careful how they do it. So part of the marketing now is what they're trying to do. So for example, this Ray-Ban. So this is something that happened just over the weekend. They asked the community for popular items that they think the community would want to go out and buy. And whatever they chose, so they had a bunch of different ideas. It ended up going with Ray-Bans, sunglasses. So they matched this popular item with the Mobick amount. So basically people were given Mobick to the equivalent of the purchase, I believe, or they were given basically one Mobick if they bought like $150 pair of Ray-Bans. And so people lined up for hours. So this incorporated the ethos of the airdrop. They're spending their time, they're spending their physical energy, and they're spending their energy in the sense of, well, they're not working. So there's already a monetary cost, and the monetary cost of the fact that they're actually going to be buying the glasses. So there's always this ethos when there's free tokens given, that they actually have to value the token by expending something. Instead of just getting a free airdrop in your MetaMask, which you have no connection to and you just dump it as soon as it opens, these guys have a physical connection to it. If you climbed a mountain to get these tokens, are you going to sell it at the first opportunity? No, you're really going to hold it. You're going to hold it and you're going to value it and you're going to nurture it and you're going to support the ecosystem's growth. So they're really trying to build this social authority so that can be leveraged in the future to other businesses and, of course, to businesses like JTBC. They actually need to prove it. So far, the price is proving it. But again, it's just like any cryptocurrency. There's always a risk for media companies. So we actually do need to prove it. So now I'm just going to... Here we go. So this is also some of what they do. So I'm just going to show you this little video. So obviously this is Tae Min shown in the blue in the middle. And I'm just going to see the rush of people. So this was over an hour that so you had the big line outside. You just had people continuously coming through. And Mr. Orr, this is Mr. Orr here, very stylish, very stylish, cool glasses, just taking pictures with everyone. And people were getting him to sign their airdrops. And so people were just coming through all day. So this obviously was very good for the company, Ray-Bans, because they ended up having a really good sales day. So then again, the synergy here is it's good for a business to actually receive this opportunity. So Tae Min is growing the network by giving these tokens away. And what is the loss to Ray-Bans? There is no loss whatsoever. People are coming in and they're buying their products just to get this BitMobick. It's a very, very, very clever idea to generate this social authority. And have a look at this. So this is what the Mobick community does. So it's very centralized. It's starting off very centralized. It's all starting from Tae Min, but also now there's people within the community who basically have like sub-community groups where they encourage people to actually promote different kinds of Mobick content. So here you can see 557 views. They've basically started to promote my content. So there's all these different views. People have bookmarked it. People have, you got to basically repost, send a message, reply, and do a like, and also do a follow. So this generates, so here's some people engaging. So these are the airdrops people got. So actually the BitMobick wallets, extremely awesome idea. So I've got a video here, extremely awesome idea, but basically here's a private key and here's the public key. So with that, I will round everything up. So thank you very much, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that BitMobick update and see you in the future.